This is Ganelon, and I wanted to record a flyby on my new capital vessel that I just downloaded. It's called the Phoenix, and I tested it out in creative, and I just thought it was pretty badass, so I wanted to add it. Right now, I'm over Acua, and you can see we've got the Acua Free Trade Station, and we are parked right next to it. I'm in the cockpit of this CV. And right outside the window, you can see the other CV that I downloaded. It's the Brutus, and we'll take a look at that in a minute, and I'll talk a little bit more about that CV and why I picked that one over the previous one that I made. In fact, I disassembled the previous larger CV that I made because I felt that it just wasn't necessary because the Brutus was pretty much anything you want in a Tier 2 CV. So first, let's take a look at the Phoenix. We're in the cockpit right now. This is a Tier 4 CV. It's not as long as some other Tier 4 CVs, but it has over 20,000 iron with over 9,000 sathium. The reason for all of that is that the exterior of this ship is 100% combat armor. So we're in the bridge, and you can see we've got a very simple control, and then I've got some secondary passengers. Moving back from the bridge, we have spaces for more passengers, as well as some oxygen. I could use some oxygen right now. And we have some storage, as well as some ammo boxes. And there's some spaces right here. At first I thought these were just places for more storage, but this actually opens up so that you can go down and take a look at the engine room. So we've got our fuel here. We've got our large generators. And in here we've got gravity. And we have our warp drive. It's just a beautiful design. So we'll go back up. And continue. Alright, well, we've got an elevator here, and the elevator will take us up to the top, which gives us one more passenger station. Pretty cosmetic, but if a passenger wants to sit here and have a nice pretty front view, they can. Going down, we've got a staging ground here, an airlock really, and we can lower a ramp so that we can touch the ground. Down we are. This is a pretty big ship, so here we go. So we're continuing to go out here, and this is the living area. Here's the core. It is behind armored glass. It is in the center of this vessel. More oxygen. Food station. You know, I see a lot of these larger CVs, they overload refrigerators and extra food stations. Unless you are a multiplayer vessel with 3 or 4 people, that's a waste of energy. One fridge can usually hold plenty of food for one person, maybe even 2. Okay, then we'll get some cosmetics here. Pretty crappy room there if you're the captain. Okay, and down here we've got an advanced constructor and a window view. Plenty of storage here. porcelain the walls. Over on this side, we have our med station. And again, some more storage right here. Something new players don't realize, the med station is actually an advanced version of the clone station. You don't need both in a vessel. Again, it's a waste of power if you have both. So this one thing will act as your cloning station as well as a healer. And we got some good cosmetics and another window view. Rocks, rocks, rocks. And this back door takes us to the hangar. Now this is huge. I wanted to get the scale of this. We'll get in the corner here. Because this SV is a larger heavy fighter. And this just has plenty of room even for, you know, quite large SVs. If you like smaller ones, you got room for a good 4 smaller fighters. And you have big door. Now, in either side of these pylons in the back, you've got room there for your food growth. It only has 8, which I think is kind of small. A minimum of 9, I think, is where I'd like to see it. Maybe even 12. 12 is actually pretty good because that gives you the ability to crank out 4 of the vegetable cans. There's a little bit room for growth here. Like I could knock that out. It's still covered under that light, and put another plot in, so that's an extra 2. That'd be a total of 10. If I wanted to do a redesign, see how this you know, is pushed inside, and I think, you know, cosmetically it's really pretty, but I could make these standard blocks, and then I'd have room for more grow plots. Okay, let's see, we should have an elevator around here. Here we are. Now this elevator takes us down to a pretty large hover vessel. And it has a long ramping system with it as well. You'll notice it does have some PvP defense. This is purely a defensive vessel, so it really isn't made for taking on battles, but with its armor and its ability to stop players from coming in without some sort of retribution, it would be a tough takedown. Okay, let's take a look at the exterior. Jetpack. And here we go. Very nice looking vessel, well painted. The textures are pretty good. Again, it's not heavily armed. I could very easily change that and make this a base assault vehicle by putting a couple of artillery turrets on. It has some limited capacity to do base assaults. It is not a very nimble vessel. It's fast. It gets to its top speed quickly, and it can move around. But as far as the stability options to level it out by horizon, it's painfully slow. It's much easier just to control those manually. So here's our bridge up here where we started. This is just a sweet, sweet CV. I worked extra long last night in order to get the last resources necessary. And in fact, I disassembled the previous Tier 3 CV that I had over the course of about 30 minutes and many different multi-tool charging packs just to recover the resources, the variable resources that I wanted to stack and make this. So this built pretty quick, and I was pleased with that. Going into the control panel, it's been pre-configured, which I really like it when builders do that. He separated the sections, thrusters and big thrusters. What's great about that is that, let's say you get up to full speed and a system has been made, a playfield area has been made with a couple of planets and moons, but they're farther apart than normal. And so it'll take you a little while to get there. You can save fuel by turning off these thrusters. You aim at what you want, you get to full speed, you turn off normal thrusters, and the big thrusters will keep going. Your inertia will keep you moving forward. And then of course we have our turrets, and then he created a systems area here where we can get to various things: fuel tanks, warp drive tanks, and the gravity generator, so that if I need to turn off the grav gen or refill, they're all in one good place. Everything else is spaced out as you'd expect to see them. So that's the Phoenix. And why don't we take a hop over to the Brutus, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I'm flying, Ma. Happy thoughts. Happy thoughts. Okay, the Brutus is a 5-star vessel on the workshop, and I'd been looking at it for a while, and one of the things they said was that it takes longer than other vessels to get to full steam. So if you're going to warp, it might take 20 seconds or something like that in order to get to the full speed before you can hit your K. And the picture that they had made it, you know, it's kind of an ugly looking vessel, but that's its charm. It looks cool. It's a very sci-fi looking vessel. Kind of looks like something we'd see in a Ridley Scott sci-fi film. It's very industrial looking vessel. And I've parked the Tier 1 little hopper on top of it. What made me fall in love with this vessel is it just has everything you would need from, I would say, it's a Tier 1.5 vessel. It has some advanced items in it, so you're going to need the rare ores, and I would consider any Tier 1 CV to not require those. But Tier 2 expects you to have them. It's inexpensive. It's about 2,000 iron, and then the other pieces in the blueprint are pretty commensurate with that. So let's take a look inside this. I'll turn off the jetpack. Okay, it has the bare minimums, and it puts them where you would expect to see them in some kind of industrial hopper machine. So we've got our fuel, engine room, and let's see, I'm out of the base station's gravity well. I turned off the grav gen, and the vessel pretty much lives off of the base station's gravity. Go up here. This, by the way, takes you to an airlock. Why you would need an airlock when you have a big open door, I don't know, but it's space. You could repurpose it. So here's the front. Again, I said earlier in the video, this is a waste of energy. I could actually drop out the clone chamber because we have a med chamber, and then use that space for more storage if I needed it. We've got our food station. And here's where we can load up on ammo. This thing does have decent armament as a utility vehicle. I would not be afraid to land this on the scary planets. I wouldn't land it near a station, but I wouldn't have a problem with any of the predator creatures or alien creepers. This thing will certainly take out most of the um, most of the drones pretty easily. So this is the other thing I love about this is look at this. We've got 6 advanced constructors, and I have colored them for the primary ores: iron, copper, cobalt, silicon. These are my rares with the medium rares and the rare rares. And then this is the one that gets things done. So it has these boxes here, and I use them for non-ore items like extra ammo. But the constructors themselves act as massive storage for each of the ores. You can see our iron is empty, and that's because I just made a very, very large tier 4 vessel. So we pretty much sucked down my earnings. Other thing I like about this is the cockpit. It's just very open. I find that I can even enjoy flying from the cockpit view instead of going out into the camera view. Let me hit my moving camera here so I can look around on this. Brutus. That's such a perfect name. There's no sense in changing it. It looks like a Brutus. Now, I have landed this, and it is exceptionally stable. This thing ain't tipping over, even if you land on a relatively steep incline. If you can still get your flats down, you're not gonna have any problem when you turn your thrusters off. And that's if you decide to turn your thrusters off. The biggest selling point, the one that made me absolutely disassemble the last CV, the tier 3 CV that I created, was that this thing sips energy. Because it is not putting heavy advanced equipment on it, it is a light CV, and when fully loaded, I can hover in the air for anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. That's in atmosphere, just hovering up in the air like a sky base. Turn off the grav gen and just be hovering in the air if I wanted to do that. That makes it really good for mining at the top of mountains. Or if you're really afraid of Masperon or one of the heavy difficulty planets, you can just enter the atmosphere and take your vessel down to get your ore. This open place here, I'm not really sure what the theory behind this was. There's not much room in there for a hovercraft, so I don't think it's that. I think this is just all for the very sci-fi, as I said, Ridley Scott sci-fi visual, and I like it. It makes it look like it is an ore refinery, a movable ore refinery system. It really does look like a mining vessel that blue collars would be flying. So that's the Brutus and the Phoenix, and I hope you appreciated this video and found it useful. I would think that you would be a happy camper if you got the Brutus, though, as your utility mining vehicle. It's perfect, and I'll probably make another video once I start integrating in new planets, which is going to happen at some point today. People are playing right now. I don't want to disturb their game. I am ready to do it, but the exoplanets are coming.